Right, if I'm wobbling, it's because I'm being loaded at the moment. However, it seems that there's been a statement put out by some Jewish schools in London that they don't feel safe and our children are precious and they need to be protected, so they're closing schools. 4 of them, I believe. And this was put out by a rabbi. The rabbi who said that this wasn't taken lightly, but they've come to this decision, also said that there is actually at the moment no perceived threat that he could see. So I'm a bit confused. Either the said rabbi decided that everybody could have a day off, right, because they're all a bit tired and why not, or basically because of stress, anxiety, whatever, for what's happening back in the homeland, that maybe everybody could take a day off and have a family day, whatever. Or there is a threat that he doesn't actually want to talk about for reasons that he can't basically back it up. That's not to say it isn't a threat, but you get to hear stuff, but if you can't come out with the evidence, right, but, you know, it seems very real. Take, for instance, Lockerbie. When that bomb went off, they were warned in Helsinki by a telephone call. But just a call alone is not enough. Although it should have been, because a lot of people lost their lives. But I digress. Back to the school. There may well be a rabbi that's going to use this for media propaganda. Now, while there are problems over in the Middle East, you know, at the end of the day, when everybody's slinging bombs at each other and your cities are being blown to fuck, I would consider that a massive problem. And I feel sorry, as I've said before, to the women, children, and the innocent people, right, who are caught up in this shit. Because at the end of the day, when you get some sociopathic narcissist leader deciding to throw a wobbler on this side, and you get just the same sort of from the other side, because this is always the way. The people that end up leaders, they're usually charismatic, but they're also aggressive in their ambitions. They're narcissistic, they're sociopathic, they have little empathy usually for the people they lead, and they usually have expansion problems. They want to do more, they want to leave a legacy, they want to create something or whatever it is. Now, there's a lot more to the Middle East, obviously, right? But I would say that their leaders, generally speaking, are on that spectrum. I can't actually think of a leader, actually at the moment, of any country that's in power that doesn't fall into these qualities. Some are worse than others, and some are better. I mean, when you look at our Tony Blair back in the day, right, who sent us into the Middle East, right, with weapons of mass destruction, which turned out to be utter bullshit. Well, who is he being led by? At the end of the day, the Americans were bang up for that one, weren't they? And I would suggest that the oil was one of the things, and they wanted to get a sympathetic leader in there, and the other leaders wanted to change the currency, and they didn't want to deal with the petrodollar anymore, and all of this was problematic to globalism, all right? So that happened. But nevertheless, this war, apparently, the more research I've done, as soon as any peace comes about, the moment that happens, then the people are behind the scenes thinking about how can they destabilise this and get their ends. But there you go. But back to the schools. If there is, in his word, no perceived threat, then maybe you're just trying to create sympathy for your side and stir up drama. Maybe you are playing a victim. Now, I'm not suggesting that there aren't people from the opposite side that are within London that don't particularly like you, all right? The wars tend to create this, you know what I mean? I've never known people that give you something like the Second World War. During the Second World War, we ended up at war with Germany, and I do believe that people from Germany weren't treated utterly brilliantly by us during that time. They won't, because basically humans have a great way of tar brushing everything over, and you're all the fucking same kind of thing, even though they're not. Which is why we always have to remind ourselves that people that are under Islam, okay, or under Judaism, or whatever you want to call it, right, some of them are sound as fuck. Some of them aren't. Some of them are led by ideologies or death cults, or call it what you want, and that's problematic to live in the West. However, some of them live under the spectre of that religion, pretending to be religious just to keep the peace with the family and friends. And I feel fucking sad for those poor bastards, because living a lie the whole time must be like being gay and not coming out. That could be difficult. But anyway, so I'd be interested to know if you're Jewish, or if you're Muslim, or if you're not, whatever. I want to hear your comments. I like the comments. I read them, and it lets me know what you think of me, what you think of what I've said, and whether you agree or disagree. And also, bearing in mind, I do actually take note. One of the comments, right, that was said in the last video that I did about this sort of thing was, while this person wasn't particularly favourable to either side, you have to say that Jewish people don't go around bombing the fuck out of places, right? This is what his comments, not mine. Car bombs and other stuff like suicide bombs and all that kind of stuff. There was a lot more to it than that, and having one of those senior moments, by the way. This is why that if I was home, I probably would have written some notes so I could have gone through it. But he was saying that, yeah, generally they're a bit different like that, the way they go about things. They don't tend to record, that was it, they don't tend to record themselves hacking some fucker's head off or other things, which seems to have been done by Islam. Because Islam, I think, it struck me as they might want to be documenting their bit they're doing. Because am I right in saying that if, say for instance, you died in war for Islam, then you're promised to get into heaven? And in my understanding, there were only a set amount of places, right, that you could get into. So you had to be very good and achieve great things. The only problem is, that was set about many, many years ago. Now I'm assuming, right, many people have passed away since then that have done good. So would it be full already? Or we brushed over that one? Did we not think about that? It always strikes me as a bit odd that people will read scriptures and not actually then put some common sense to it and went, well, that might have worked back then, but since then a lot of people have died, or this has happened, or we've now got that, or whatever. I'd like to see all of these books and all of these religions brought up to speed. So that, say for instance, Muslims could be all inclusive for, say for instance, the gays, the trans, other religions. Maybe they wouldn't call us infidels. That would be sweet. And maybe we could do the same with Jewish people, and they wouldn't call us goyim. That would be lovely. I quite like that. Well, another thing is, I was wondering whether Jewish schools actually accepted non-Jews, and apparently they do. They had to fill the quota or whatever, so they've accepted non-Jewish people in. So I'd be interested to know just how that goes. Right. Anyway, he's beat. I'm loaded. Let's crack on and earn some money to pay some tax for that fucking hotel directly opposite me that's ram-packed full of fucking boat people. Why have they got to have security on there, by the way? Why? Is it to stop us getting in and finding out what's going on? Or is it to secure the people in there? Do they feel unsafe? Or is it to make sure that those security police the people in there because they might play up? Answers on a postcard to whatthefucksgoingon.com. Right, I'm off. See you in a bit.